Hey guys, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I am really lazy. I prefer to watch a video rather than read an article if possible. And I've recently published an article where I've evaluated basically the last quarter of my clients' activities with the goal of basically trying to figure out what kind of learnings I get from that and what can I share with my team, what can I share with myself, and what do I believe is the future in terms of both sort of insights and skills that are going to be relevant in growth marketing. As we approach halfway to 2021. So here is the video. I'm also going to publish the transcript of this on my LinkedIn and on my blog. So feel free to take a look. And please, please, please let me know your thoughts because I'm probably completely wrong and I'd love to hear other people tell me why. I shall begin. So, marketing as an industry continues to develop and innovate faster than ever, with entrepreneurship becoming the career path of choice for many people, particularly post-COVID. Establishing your brand and growing your startup can be an incredibly competitive and difficult activity. This combined with like an ever increasing amount of marketing tools and applications and the sophistication of those tools means that if you're not actively progressing forwards, if you're not working towards a goal, you're regressing, you're going backwards. It's not a stationary, static thing. If you're still, it's not going to work. So, having spent a lot of time reviewing my clients' activities over Q1 2021, which is wild to think that we're approaching halfway, I've noticed a bunch of different patterns and skills that are really important. So, essentially, here are some of my recommendations that I believe will help you become a more effective marketer, generate more sales, and basically just be better at your job. So, number one, and this is my most important aspect, focus on the human. So, marketing is all about understanding who your customers are and what problem you're solving for them, and then articulating that problem in the right way. The fundamentals will always remain the same. Understanding who your customers are, the problems that you solve for them, and how to effectively communicate these problems, these should be the core questions of every single brand. As I always tell my clients and mentees and people that I interact with, the better that you understand your customer, the more effective your marketing will be. There are practically no exceptions to this. If I look at my friends who run really successful businesses, those that are the most successful, the people who obsess about their customers, they try to learn every bit and every tiny bit of detail about them, what problem they're solving, how they talk about those problems, how they interact with those problems. They do have an obsession, and I use that word literally, and I think it's very admirable, and it's very tiring, it's very difficult, and unless you're personally very motivated, it can be a very difficult task to achieve the level of insight and observation that you really need in order to achieve that. Number two is less data, more creativity. So with the introduction of GDPR and Apple's IDFA tracking, we'll have less access to individual user data. This has short-term negative impact in that it reduces clarity, but as an optimist, I believe that this will enable us to think a bit more creatively, 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 finally I got there, about how to learn about our users. And what this might mean is that we actually have to go back to actually speaking to our customers, which is a wild concept to many, I know. Additionally, there's increasing awareness amongst the general public about how we collect and how we use data. So people, particularly with recent news articles, are more and more aware of what how we generate that data and how we use that data to market to them. And most of us are doing that in a very privacy compliant human way, in that we're just trying to find the people that we solve the problems for. We're not trying to spam people, and the more information we have about our customers, the more accurately we can target them. Um, so one of the other problems that I think a lot of marketers have is that we have a bit of a superiority complex. Because we work in the field, we can identify how marketing works and how user behavior is involved in that. But what this means is that we often have a bad habit of assuming just everyone's a bit dumb and a bit naive. And it's not true. It's simply a case of this is our job, this is what we do, and people don't spend their lives doing this. And I think it's really important to understand that other people do different things, and other people focus on different areas, and that we what we should really be doing is just educating our customers and explaining to them how we use data, how we collect data, and what that means for our customers, and actually like being really transparent about it. I think, and I think that there's, it goes back to sort of the fundamental of who are our customers, and treating our customers with respect, and like being honest and treating them like humans. So the next thing that I'm seeing more and more every single day is the buzzwords artificial intelligence and machine learning. So the actual use of this really varies, but essentially there's a bunch of different ways we can look at it. So the first is the speed at which we're incorporating artificial intelligence and machine learning into our customer acquisition process. I see this from when I'm running Google app ad campaigns, to actually some of their new campaigns, to Facebook, to lesser known programmatic platforms. They're all using machine learning to try and find ways of optimizing our creative, optimizing our copy to target people more effectively than ever. And this is like a very practical example, particularly with iOS 14.5 and the lack of data. We're looking at a lot of attribution modeling from machine learning based systems. So I think what we need to be aware of is a few points here. One, this is the future. There is no way to change that. Machines can calculate millions of variables and we cannot. And secondly, we need to get with it, or we need to disappear, because this is the future, and if we don't understand how it works, it's not going to be Mad Men forever. We can't just come up with great creative and assume it's going to work. We need to understand, how do we incorporate this? How do we adapt? How do we change our process to incorporate these different systems and these different concepts? And also just educating ourselves about how it works. Like we've got YouTube, everything is out there. And next, we've got experimentation. So experimentation is like the core of what I do. So when I talk about growth marketing, I talk about data-driven experimentation, because I'm not a genius in what I do. I don't instantly come up with insights that drive huge growth for customers. But what I do is I have educated data-driven guesses, and then we perform those guesses and we test them out in a scientific process to understand, does this work? Does this not work? And then we optimize that, and we continue doing this in a process, in a system where we're constantly analyzing the results. We're trying to see what works and we're trying to see what doesn't. And I think more and more people need to do this. I think more and more people need to make sure they have good analytics tracking profiles, and we need to understand how can we incorporate experimentation into our process. But I think this drives on to the next point, which is being brave. We have ton of information at our disposal. We have tons of different tools. We have all sorts of custom information. And sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming, and we just need to make some assumptions, be brave, take risks, and do things that might be a bit scary. I think a lot of marketers have a responsibility for the representation of a brand, and I think what's really important is that we are able to take those risks, be brave, and see what works, because the campaigns that have really achieved greatness are generally those that are probably a bit more risky than others. We take calculated risk, but there's always a risk. And we need to just sort of take those risks and see what happens and measure the results, and then continue to iterate on that. So there's just some of the main fundamentals that I've seen. I'd be love to see what your thoughts are, what you see the future of growth marketing as we progress through 2021 and moving forwards in a post-COVID world. Let me know your thoughts, and please feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you agree with them, if you disagree with them, let me know. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.